We get to see the maple trees, maple sugar on the maple leaves. We get the biggest wheat fields growing tall. In Canada, where we see the reversing falls. In Canada, we get to see them all.
Hey there, everyone. Well, it's been a little while since I caught you all up on our news here. There's been a lot going on. Well, last weekend I had a great discussion with a really great guy I wanted to introduce as my first guest here on Canadian Drain, Nick Majors, from the YouTube channel Beyond America, Canada Looking South. Unfortunately, I made an error while recording it, so the video was lost. And I want to apologize to Nick again for that. And please, I encourage you to go watch his videos and give him a follow if you can.
Hi, I'm Nick Majors, and I'm a 70-year-old Canadian who's determined to have an impact on YouTube. So I've created a new channel called Beyond America, Canada Looking South. It was created for those people in Canada who want to follow American politics. As you know, you really have to. What happens in the U.S. has a tremendous impact on our lives and our futures, and we want to stay up to date. Now, my channel's been doing really well, but I'm putting out 1 or 2 videos a week. I've got 6,000 subscribers. If I can get that number up to 10,000, I'm going to start going daily and give you complete updates of exactly what's going on. So if you really want to understand what's happening and how it impacts you, then please visit my channel, subscribe, like the videos, comment on them, tell your friends about it, get them to subscribe. Thank you very much, and you have yourself a great week.
Nick's channel has reached a lot of viewers lately with his friendly, informative style, and one video in particular got a lot of attention after he put out a call for his viewers to send in selfies showing the orange con man how we feel about him and his threats to make us the 51st state and all.
Big orange man with a sick, twisted grin, stomping round our borders, wanting to get in. Rattle your cage somewhere else, man. Canada ain't your wasteland. Stay away, Trump, stay away. Hey, leave us to our peace today. We don't need your walls of rage. Stay away, Trump, stay away. You tweet your hate like poison darts.
Nick jokingly calls himself the Poilievre Whisperer. So he talked about the MAGA effect here in Canada and the recent backlash in the polls for the Conservative Party, and how PP the Pipsqueak lost his longtime enemy and punching bag when Justin Trudeau resigned, and the Liberal Party began a spectacular recovery in the polls.
Not only one poll, but all the polls indicate that not only would Pierre Poilievre be defeated, but the Liberal government, the Liberal Party under Mark Carney, could well form a majority government. And that was completely unfathomable just a few months ago. So it's pretty amazing what's happened. And it has Poilievre and the Conservative Party in pure panic mode. You can do all the talking you want, dismissing the polls and saying, oh, some are biased, some are this. But they've been confirmed by poll after poll after poll. And it just keeps getting worse. It's not getting any better. There's not been a correction yet. As recently as January the 6th, Poilievre and the Conservatives were leading by 24 points, apparently on their way to a majority government. Then between the impact of Justin Trudeau resigning and Donald Trump deciding to go to war with Canada and Poilievre not reacting well to it, things started to shift. And they've just gone, it's a steamroll.
Trudeau's successor, Mark Carney, swiftly swept away PP's axed the carbon tax campaign slogan by ending it in one of his first acts as PM.
With the stroke of a pen, Prime Minister Mark Carney undid the signature environmental policy of 10 years of the Trudeau government.
We will be eliminating the Canada fuel charge.
Carbon prices have been applied sparingly. They've been set far too low.
The carbon tax had become an impossible political liability for the Liberals. Their challenge now is to convince Canadians that they really have moved on from the unpopular tax.
I would just say folks should be very careful about getting tied to a particular tool. Ultimately, you actually are tied to the objective, which is reducing emissions.
Pierre pretends he's the strong man who can stand up for Canada against the bully below us after the liar-in-chief made a comment that he would rather deal with the Liberals. The latest slur from the sludge-brained simpleton is that Canadians are nasty and acting like Ukraine. Hey, Donald, we take that as a compliment. You brought out the Canada goose in all of us. And as Charlie Angus says, we aren't afraid to go elbows up and over the boards when somebody picks a fight.
And we had American friends who were like, don't worry, Pennsylvania hasn't come in yet. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, I've been there. Just like Florida didn't come in. And I went home, and I woke up and it was worse than I had thought. And I lay in bed, and I thought, how is this possible in a democratic era like today that that convicted felon sexual predator could take power? And at 8:30 in the morning, my wife called me. She said, you haven't posted anything on Facebook yet. And I said, I don't know what to say. She said, I don't care what you say something. Because people need to know that we're going to get through this. And I didn't know what to say. And I think of Antonio Gramsci, who talks about the new world struggling to be born, but we are in the time of monsters. And I woke up that morning and I knew we are now in the time of monsters. And so I started to speak, and I decided that no matter what I did from here on in, I was going to confront those monsters. And you are inspiring me, and you are inspiring the world, because you understand as well what is at stake right now. This is a historic moment. We decide whether we go forward as a people and as a world, or we descend into the darkness of fascism. As this is not a trade war, and we all knew it wasn't a trade war. This is about plunder. This is about taking who we are away. And that ain't gonna happen. No way. But I'll quote the great blues man, Jimmy Reed. Yeah, big boss man, you may be big, but you ain't so big. You're just tall, that's all. And I say that because you know what? They're shouting and they're huffing and puffing because they thought we were an easy mark. Boy, were they surprised. And that's when Pete Navarro comes out and says, whoa, whoa, Canada, stop with all that rhetoric, all that hockey stuff about dropping gloves. Like, what, you're scared now? Come on. What? They're saying, let's cooler heads prevail. Because they thought we were an easy mark. They thought we would fold, that we would give up, and we would roll over, because Trump is a 2-bit Putin. And we didn't roll over. And what we've become is the front line of democratic defense, us in Ukraine, all over the world.
Carney's favorability keeps going up, with an official European trip to meet with the coalition of the willing and the King of England, and he held a press conference at 10 Downing Street that left no doubt about where we stand on the war in Ukraine and NATO and tariffs and allies and Canadian sovereignty. And on his return to Canada, Carney's first press event was held in Nunavut, where he made a public announcement of our new satellite defense system, the JORD, in a deal with our Commonwealth partner Australia. A surprise move that we got the deal before the US did. Going forward and beyond Canada, looking south, we up here will continue boycotting US goods and services, buying Canadian, building up our own economy and defenses. Our travel and tourism dollars are being spent elsewhere too, especially since people are being detained or deported seemingly indiscriminately, including the Canadian actress Jasmine Mooney, who's finally home in Vancouver with her family after being detained for 11 days. She crossed the border from Mexico into San Diego while applying for a temporary work visa. Her family didn't even know where she was.
For a BC woman who had been detained at an ICE detention center for nearly 2 weeks.
I'm still, to be honest, really processing everything. I haven't slept in a while and haven't eaten proper food in a while, so I'm just really going through the motions. Getting back here was, it's just been a lot.
Jasmine Mooney says she attempted to enter the U.S. from Mexico at the San Diego border crossing on March 3rd. She said she tried to apply for a temporary visa for a job in the U.S., but that was denied. She was then detained by ICE and taken to a detention center in California for 3 days. She was then transported to another facility in Arizona. And after an 11-day ordeal, Jasmine was finally released and got on a flight back to Vancouver.
From the second I got there to now, I can't even process what just happened because there was no heads up. Next thing you know, I'm taken and for 2 weeks haven't been told anything, moved in different cells, sleeping on cement, sleeping in different jail cells. I was given no heads up of anything that was about to transpire. On the way back, I had the guards that brought me, they looked through all my paperwork and they were very confused as well.
Mooney also shedding light on what she describes as inhumane conditions inside these ICE detention centers. She said at one point she had to share a cell with 30 other women with no blanket, the lights were on 24/7, and she had limited access to the bathrooms. She also had very little communication with her family and her immigration lawyer.
I do not wish it upon anyone.
Well, the old MAGA tank can keep his tariff threats and dreams of making us the 51st state. We're not for sale or for ransom. And Tesla's being investigated for possible fraudulent sales reports. Getting those rebate dollars. And we're close to having his citizenship revoked too. And there's serious discussions about whether Donald should even be allowed to come here to attend the G7 in June. I say, lock him out. Stay away, Trump, stay away.
Stay tuned for more on Political Drain Canadian Edition.
Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.